Hey guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to do my water droplet technique. And there it is. So the first thing you want to do is put some water on the paper in drops. Using a big brush helps, and you want to keep the brush as low to the paper as possible so it doesn't drop and kind of like splatter. You want it to be just one little solid drop sitting right on top of the paper. Here I'm getting just some color. I'm just taking it right out of the tub. My art teacher says not to do that, but YOLO. Anyway, and with the same brush, has a nice little tip on the end, so I'm just using it to drop some color into the drops. And obviously, you know, the more color that you put in, the darker it will be the final result. And then just let that sit and dry for a really long time. Now it helps to not have any air circulation going. You can see that the water, it looks like it's jiggling kind of like jello. It's because my fan is on right now, and that, you know, provides a cool effect. It makes the final result a little bit more solid, but if you have absolutely no disturbance in the air, the outcome will be different. So that one, you see I just put in a really light, just a little bit of color. If you do that, you'll actually notice a ring around the outside of the final product, whereas if you put in a lot of color, it will just be solid. And obviously you don't have to stick to just one color. You can also put in another color, which I'm about to do, if I will hurry up. There I go. Also, you want to keep a level surface when you do this, because the table I was working on, it was a little bit tilted at an angle, and if in a minute here you'll see this final drop, there it goes. He just kind of, excuse me, he just kind of flops over because of the angle. Which, you know, could be cool. I mean, if you wanted to do that. But if you don't want that to happen, try to keep your surface as level as possible. It also helps to use some really good paper. The more that your paper is suited for watercolor, so the more of a weight your paper has, the more water it will be able to hold on top of it before the water actually sinks into it, if that makes sense. So a lot of people have tried this before. I posted a video on Instagram like a year ago for this technique, and the reason they said it didn't work, but the reason it didn't work is because they were using really thin paper and it just sank right in. Here, what you can see I'm doing is I've put a tiny drop down and gone ahead and let that dry. I grew a bit of facial hair while that was happening, and on top of that I put another clear drop and then just put a little bit of green into it, and the final result will be kind of like a layered look. The small blue drop really won't get too disturbed. With these, sorry about my focusing issues with my camera, by the way. I don't know what is wrong with her. With these, I'm putting in two colors at the same time, and I'm kind of letting them blend out a little bit more. Also, if you want these to be very uniform as far as the outer edge in the final result, try not to move the paper at all. Like, in addition to the air current, try not to physically shake the paper or have anything bump into it. So here is an interesting technique that I like to do. I will get a little bit of plain water onto the paper and then take a very thin brush, like a liner brush, and just go right up into the dot. And depending on a few elements, like for example, depending on whether your paper is tilted or not, the water will either run into the dot or run out of the dot, or just kind of, you know, stay in one place and mix just a little bit. But in this case, the water was running out of the dot, so the lower part of the paper was, or the bottom of the paper was lower than the top. And when this dries, you'll be able to see that it looks really cool. And the more colors that you do this with, the more it gets mixed in. I didn't bother to rinse the brush off in between connecting these, just because I wanted that little bit of color to seep into the bottom where like the pool almost of water is. These almost look like little plants. That's what they remind me of. Little baby plants, like their flowers haven't come out yet. Or like spores, some type of fungi. So this is, everything has dried now. I'm not entirely sure why that dark band is in the middle of the big blob of water, but whatever. So this is just like a zoom of what has happened. And you know, it's watercolor, so it's not going to be every single piece of paint is not going to be fully in your control, and that's the good thing, that's the fun thing about watercolor. And you can see, if my camera would bother to focus, you can kind of see the edges of this. Now you can see that layered effect with the small drop, and you know, you can do that. You can put a bunch of small drops together and then put one huge one over it and get a really cool effect, like almost like a cell. That looks like the nucleus in a cell to me. Now, if you have other types of paper, such as sticker paper, you can make stickers out of this. And sticker paper is more of a plastic feel, so the final result will actually be a little bit more varied. As you can see, the color isn't seeping in so much to the water here. It isn't dispersing, which makes a cool effect. You can also achieve this with something called Yupo paper, but it's quite expensive, and I haven't gotten the opportunity to try that out yet, unfortunately. But hey, maybe soon, right? So anyway, that is that, and thank you guys for supporting me. So you can see this video on Patreon. I'm going to be releasing this in a year. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope that you learned some new techniques, or even, like, you know, a different way to apply this technique. I know I've seen it become a lot more popular recently. So yeah, I enjoyed making this video. It's my first video ever, which is probably why she looks beginner, let me tell you what. But I'm excited to learn some new techniques myself about video making and editing, and we will see what the future looks like. With that, bye bye, and I hope your day is really good. See ya.